Title of the first section today is a number, a solution to an inequality. First problem is v is greater than or equal to -5, and the number we'll use for this question is 4. Plugging the number in for the variable, we have 4 is greater than or equal to -5. And the question is this number a solution? Is 4 greater than or equal to -5? And the answer would be yes. Any positive number is bigger than any negative number. Second question is g less than or equal to the fraction 12/5. And the number we use for this question is 3. Plugging a 3 in for the variable, we have 3 less than or equal to 12/5. If you change this fraction into a mixed number, 5 goes into 12 2 times. 5 goes into 10, so there's 2 left over. 2 would be the numerator, and the 5 would stay as the denominator. So 12/5 is the same as 2 2/5. Bringing down the inequality in number, we have 3 is less than or equal to 2 2/5. Answer to this one would be no. 3 is not less than 2 2/5. Last problem for the section. 3x minus 7 is greater than -1. And the number for this problem is 2. Again, take the number, plug it in for the variable. So 3x would be 3 times 2 minus 7 is greater than -1. Multiplying, multiply before we subtract. 3 times 2 would be 6. 6 minus 7 is greater than -1. 6 minus 7 would be -1. And we're left with -1 is greater than -1. Answer to this question would be no. -1 is equal to -1, but -1 is not greater than -1. If it had a or equal to symbol on the bottom of the line, then the answer would be yes, but they cannot be equal without the line on the bottom for the or equals to. Last section today is titled Graphene. Inequalities. First question is x is less than 4. To graph inequalities that have a single variable or single letter, we can draw just a single number line. You can put any numbers you want on the number line. Best number to put is the one that we're graphing, and we can put that right in the middle. And then to make it a number line, we can put one number to the right and one number to the left. To the right of 4 would be 5, and to the left of 4 would be 3. If you want to, you can put more numbers in this, but the minimum you need is 3 with the number that you're graphing in the middle. To graph inequalities, you have 2 types of points, a open circle or a closed circle. If there's no line underneath the inequality, if it's not equal to, it's a open circle. And we'll put the open circle above the number we're graphing, which is 4. And the last part to graph, we'll either draw the line going to the left or going to the right. In this question, x is less than 4. Less than 4 means smaller than 4. Smaller than 4 would be to the left. Second question that we'll graph. Y is greater than or equal to -3. Same steps, we'll draw a number line, because again we're graphing a single variable. The number -3 we'll put in the middle of the graph, and we'll have one number to the left and one number to the right. -3, to the right of -3 would be -2, and to the left of -3 would be -4. Again, the 2 types of points, you have a open circle like we did in the first one, if there's no line underneath the inequality. If there's a line, which means or equal to, the circle will be closed or a solid point. And again, the last part, the line either goes to the left or to the right. This time we have y is greater than or equal to -3. Greater than -3 would be to the right. And you'd have your graph like that. Next question. A is less than the fraction 3/2. Again, we'll draw the number line. The number of fraction that we're graphing, 3/2, would go in the middle. And again, we'll have one number to the right and one number to the left. For the number to the right of the fraction, you can increase the numerator by 1, which would be 4/2. 4/2 would divide out and be 2. To go to the left of the fraction, you decrease by 1. So taking 1 away from 3, that would be 2/2, or 2/2 would just be 1. And the point will either be open or closed. If there's no line underneath the inequality, it's an open circle. And this problem is A is less than 3/2. Less than means smaller, and smaller numbers are to the left. Last question for the section. -2 is less than D. Again, draw the number line. -2 is the number that we're graphing. We'll go in the middle. And we'll put one number to the right and one number to the left. To the right of -2, that would be -1. And to the left of -2, that would be -3. This point does not have a line underneath the inequality, so it is an open circle. And the question is, -2 is less than D. -2 less than D means -2 is smaller, which means the letter or variable is bigger. So the bigger numbers that we want go to the right. And you have the graph for the question. Title of the first section today is Solving. Inequalities, and Graphene. First problem today is d minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 4. Before we can graph this, we have to solve or get d by itself, and then we can graph like we did in the previous section. To get d by itself, we have to get rid of this minus 5. The opposite of minus 5 is adding 5, which will do the both sides of the inequality. Negative 5 and positive 5 would cancel out, and you'll be left with d is greater than or equal to negative 4 plus 5, which would be positive 1. Different signs will subtract, and the bigger number keeps the positive sign. Our answer to the inequality, d greater than or equal to positive 1, and last step we can graph. Graphing again, we'll put the number 1 in the middle of the line graph. One number to the left and one number to the right. 2 would go on the right side, 0 can go on the left side. This inequality has a line underneath, or equal to, which means the point is solid or closed. And the inequality is d is greater than or equal to positive 1. Greater than means bigger numbers, which go to the right, so the line would go to the right. Second question, and last question for the section, is w plus 4 is less than 9. Again, we want to get w by itself. To get rid of a positive 4, we can subtract 4 on both sides. 4 and negative 4 would cancel, so w would just be left is less than 9 minus 4, which would be 5. So the answer to the inequality is w is less than 5. Drawing a number line, we can put 5 in the middle of the graph. Two numbers, one on the left and one on the right. Put 6 on the right and 4 on the left. W is less than 5. There's no line on the bottom, or it's not equal to. If there's no line, that means it's a open circle. And W less than 5 means we want the numbers smaller than 5. Smaller than 5 would go to the left. And that would be the graph for the inequality. Title last section today is more, solving, inequalities, and graphing. First question today is 3 is less than r plus 5. Again, before we graph the inequality, we have to isolate or get r by itself, so we have to get rid of the positive or plus 5. Opposite of adding 5 would be subtracting 5, and we'll do that to both sides of the inequality. The 5's would cancel. 3 minus 5 would be negative 2. Again, we have opposite signs, so we'll subtract them. The 5's bigger, so we keep it negative. Less than r, so the answer to the inequality would be negative 2 is less than r. to graph this again, we draw a number line. -2 we'll put in the middle, and one number to the right and one number to the left. To the right of -2 would be -1, and to the left of -2 would be -3. We have 2 points, either open or closed. If it's just less than, there's no line on the bottom, it's not equal to. That is a open point. And the equation or inequality is -2 is less than r. -2 less than means -2 is smaller, and r, the variable, will be bigger. So we want the bigger numbers from -2. Bigger numbers are to the right. Second question we'll look at. -1.3 plus x less than or equal to 3.2. And again, the first step is to get x, or the variable, by itself. So to get rid of the -1.3, we can add 1.3 to both sides. 1.3's would cancel. X is less than or equal to. Adding decimals, we can just add straight down. 2 plus 3 would be 5. 3 plus 1 would be 4. And line the decimals up and come straight down to get 4.5. So we have x is less than or equal to 4.5. Drawing the number line, we can put 4.5 in the middle, and one number to the right, one number to the left. To the right of 4.5, we can put 5, and to the left of 4.5, we can put 4. Less than or equal to, the line or equal to means it's a solid or closed dot. And x is less than or equal to 4.5. X is less than means we want the smaller numbers from 4.5. Smaller numbers go to the left. And the last question for the section, we have a fraction -2/3 greater than y minus 4. Again, we want to isolate or get y by itself, so we want to get rid of the -4. Opposite of -4 would be adding 4 on both sides. And the 4's we can cancel. When we have a fraction and a number, we can make both of them fractions. Underneath the 4, we can put a 1. And before we combine or subtract fractions, we have to have the same denominator. Right now the denominators are 3 and 1, so the common denominator would be 3. We can change this 1 into a 3 by multiplying by 3, and we'll multiply the numerator by 3 also. So -2/3 would stay the same. 4 times 3 would be 12. 1 times 3 would be 3. And the 4 is positive, so we'll have plus 12 over 3. So instead of -2/3 plus 4, now we have -2/3 plus 12 over 3. We have a -2 and a positive 12, so we'll be subtracting those. That would be positive 10. Denominator would stay the same. So the left side of the inequality would be 10 over 3. And then the inequality comes down. We'll have greater than y. So the answer to the inequality, 10 over 3, is greater than y. And then we can graph the inequality from there. 10 over 3 we'll put in the middle. One number on the right and one number on the left. To the right of a fraction, you can increase the numerator by 1, which would make that 11 over 3. And to the left of a fraction, we can decrease, which would be 9 over 3. 9 over 3 is equal to 3. Graphing from here, we have a open circle. It's not or equal to. And we have 10 over 3 is greater than y. 10 over 3 is greater than, which means y is smaller. So we want these smaller numbers from 10 over 3. Smaller numbers are always to the left. And that would be the graph to the inequality. Title of the first section today is Solving and Graphing. Inequalities. By dividing. First question, or actually first definition, is flip the inequality when you divide by a negative. So when you're dividing an inequality, if you divide by a negative number, we will flip the inequality or turn the inequality around backwards. First question is negative 5x less than 10. To get x by itself, we have to get rid of this negative 5. It's negative 5 times x, so we will divide by negative 5. Negative 5s will cancel. X will come down. Since we divided by a negative number, the inequality will flip around and it will become greater than. 10 divided by negative 5 would be negative 2. So the answer to the inequality, x is greater than negative 2. To graph this, we can draw a number line. The number we're graphing, negative 2, we can put in the middle. One number to the right and one number to the left. That would be negative 1 and negative 3. The symbol is greater than. Greater than would be an open circle. X is greater than negative 2, so we want the numbers bigger than negative 2, which will go to the right. Second question is 4m greater than or equal to negative 8. Again, we want to solve for m, so we want to get rid of this 4. 4 times m, the opposite of multiplying by 4 would be to divide by 4 on both sides. The 4's would cancel. M would come down. This time we divided by a positive 4. Since we're dividing by a positive number, the inequality would not flip, it would stay the same. And negative 8 divided by 4 would be negative 2. So we'll have m is greater than or equal to negative 2. Graphing this. Again, negative 2 we can put in the middle of our graph. Two extra numbers, we'll have negative 1 and negative 3. Greater than or equal to will be a solid or closed point. And if m is greater than or equal to negative 2, we want the numbers bigger than negative 2, which will go to the right. Last question for this section. We have 16 is greater than 3.2 h. Again, we want to solve for h, so we want to get rid of this 3.2. We can divide both sides by 3.2. 16 divided by 3.2. We can do long division to solve. 16 would go inside the long division symbol. 3.2 would go outside. Whenever you divide by a decimal, we have to move that decimal over to make it 32. And if we move the decimal once, the 16, the decimal would also move once. And we can add a 0 to make it 160. Now we have 32 into 160. And that would go 5 times. 5 times 2 would be 10. Carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 1 more would be 16. Decimal would come straight up, so we just have 5. We divided by a positive number. Dividing by a positive does not flip the inequality. 3.2's cancel, and h comes down. So we have 5 is greater than h. Graphing, we can draw a number line. Put 5 in the middle. 2 extra numbers. And our symbol is greater than, which will be an open circle. The inequality 5 is greater than h, meaning 5 is the bigger number. H will be the smaller number. So smaller numbers from 5 would go to the left. And that would be the graph for the question. Next section of notes today is titled Solving and Graphing. Inequalities. By multiplying. First problem is the fraction x over 6 is less than -1. The fraction x over 6 is the same as x divided by 6. If we're dividing by 6, the opposite would be multiplying by 6. And we can do that on both sides. 6's would cancel. X would come down. The inequality would stay the same when you multiply by a positive number, and -1 times 6 would be -6. Graphing this, -6 would go in the middle of the number line, -5 would go on the right, -7 would go on the left. The symbol less than would be an open circle, and x is less than -6. The smaller numbers would go to the left. Second question. 1 is less than or equal to negative w divided by 2. Again, to get rid of a fraction, if we're dividing by 2, we can multiply by 2. We also want to get rid of the negative, so we can multiply by -2. And we'll do that on both sides. -2 times 1 would be -2. Just like when we're dividing, if we multiply by negative, the inequality will also switch around. Anytime you multiply or divide by negative, the inequality will flip. The 2 will cancel, the negative will cancel, and it'll be left with w. So we'll have -2 is greater than or equal to w. Graphing that, we put -2 in the middle. -1 and -3 will go on the sides.